Hey guys, what's going on? This is Deadly. Welcome back to another episode of Ask Deadly, the weekly show where I read your questions that you guys leave me in the comment section below and do my best to answer them. Let's get started. The first question of the week is coming from Louis Garcia. What is your favorite show to watch? Animal Kingdom is pretty great. I'm going to just set up with a little bit of background knowledge. On the east coast of Canada, there's not a whole lot to do in the wintertime, especially on Prince Edward Island. And where I live on PEI, there's literally nothing around, so not even like delivery food. If I want to get something, I got to go out there and drive to get it. The closest Tim Hortons, for those that are Canadian, is like 15 minutes away from where I live. So that's actually pretty far, all things considered. So needless to say, Shelby and I watch a hell of a lot of TV, and there's a lot of different shows that actually we've been into lately, but I'd say the show that we get excited about the most has to be Game of Thrones. There's only 2 more seasons left. Not going to spoil anything, but if you guys haven't started Game of Thrones, you're missing out. It's an incredible TV series. The first season is a little slow, but if you stick with it, I promise you will be rewarded. We got Better Call Saul. That's going to be starting up tomorrow, so that's going to be a big thing if you guys liked Breaking Bad. Gus Fring, he's coming back into the story, and that should be pretty fucking sweet. Shelby and I, we just completed a show which I really recommend if you guys are into like psychological thrillers and the X-Men. It's called Legion on FX. Great show, man. Blew me away. The first couple episodes again with this show is a little slow, but it is an incredibly well done and entertaining show. So give it a shot if you guys are looking for something a little bit different. It's an X-Men show kind of, but it's not at the same time. It's very weird how they do it. It's almost more like Beautiful Mind or like Shutter Island or Fight Club in a weird way, and I won't spoil why. And I guess the last show that I've been really into is Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's probably one of my favorite shows on TV right now. We just finished up with the most recent season. Not going to end it with a spoiler, but for those that seen the last episode, I'm feeling pretty banjo, man. So that's pretty much all of my favorite TV shows that are currently on right now. I watched The Walking Dead, but my God, that show doesn't really feel like it's going anywhere anytime soon. So it's the most watched TV show in the world, but for me, I don't know what the hell is going on with it. I think they just need to kill like the vast majority of their cast and start kind of making the stories a little bit longer. There's so many characters on that show that barely anything gets accomplished. So it's in my opinion, it's just a lazy way of doing things. Instead of sticking to 1 or 2 main stories, which were well thought out with depth, it's just a bunch of little stories that only end up having like 30 to 40 minutes of actual playtime per season, and it can be a little demotivating. So anyways, that's enough about that TV discussion, but thanks for asking that question. Alright, the next comment comes from My Keyboy. I used to be a sub on Twitch and I love banditry when you're friendly and even role-playing, but I unsubscribed for cannibalism. For me, that overrides everything that is good. Sorry, but I still love the other videos. Well, that's actually not a bad point, but it is just a video game, so just keep that in mind. Try not to take things too seriously. I have had 2 very successful cannibal characters for the last couple weeks to months that have simply not died. So if I do anything on them, I'm going to have Kuru disease, and I'm going to have shaky hands all over the place, which can be a little hectic. Role-playing as a cannibal, though, in DayZ can be pretty insane and pretty fun if you can dive into it and you can get a little method. You sound a little nutty, but that's just kind of part of the fun in DayZ, is just getting so deeply involved with your character and getting that roleplay on. I think it's just part of the video game. Like, it's in DayZ for a reason, for people to kind of get a little nutty and explore that type of character. So just keep it in mind that this is like largely roleplay. DayZ is a role-playing game, and when people are doing that crazy cannibalism playstyle, it's just to become the antagonist. And if you get upset, like for example, you unsubscribed or did whatever, that actually means that me playing that role is doing a decent job because you had a negative emotion to it. So I feel like that's, it's just part of the game. So if you do take it in a negative way, it's obviously never intended. It's just, remember, it is a video game and it is role play, so try not to take it that seriously. Next question comes from Shin Yi. Hey Deadly, what is the best way to get #1 in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds? I'm assuming the solo queues. By the way, I love your videos. Well, if you're going for solo queue, I'm still learning that myself. I only have, including the closed beta and alpha, probably around 12 to 15 wins on the North American solo queues. And since beta's released, I only have 6 wins. So I'm not an expert when it comes to PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. I would love to be, and I'm playing that game a lot because I want to become better at that game, because I see that it's got a lot of potential, and I like playing it. You guys like watching it on YouTube and on stream, and it's a good supplement. Whenever DayZ is crashing on me and things are just not going well, I can always switch over to that game, and I know that people are going to have a good time, including myself, because I do like that game. My current strategy is working out quite nicely, but there is a little bit of RNG that gets involved near the end. But essentially, I try to jump as far away from the rest of the group as possible and try to think about areas where people are not going to be going to, loot those spots up, try to get an early vehicle if possible, and just try my best to distance myself from everybody else, to get that assault rifle, to get that ACOG scope and potentially a suppressor, and get the supplies that I need. After that phase, there's usually around 40 to 50 people left in the match. I try to determine where is going to be the ending, where the circle is going to be closing up. Find a good defensive or concealed location, either inside of a building, a bush, usually either in a building or a bush. I don't like to just sit behind a tree or a rock. It's far too open. Maybe try to find some cool place to lay prone. I don't know, but I just kind of conceal myself and move with the circle from there. So either the circle is going to be collapsing on top of my location, or I'm going to be watching the edge of the circle, killing players who are running into the edge, and then also slowly moving with the circle until the very end, and hopefully I can get some kills. I'm still sort of honing down on my strategy right now, so I'm not going to be making any videos about that anytime soon because I still have so much to learn about these Battle Royale style games. I don't have much experience in Arma 3 Battle Royale. I barely have any experience playing King of the Kill, so Battlegrounds is literally the first type of this style of game that I'm really getting involved with and wanting to get better at. So in time, man, just subscribe to the YouTube channel and I'll try to hook you up with some strategies in the future. I like the way Miscreated is headed, and I think it has growing potential. What are your thoughts on that game's development and where it's going? Well, Miscreated is one of those games that I really tried to get involved with, but for whatever reason, I just didn't seem to enjoy it after about 45 minutes of gameplay. I think the moment that I knew that I wasn't going to enjoy Miscreated was whenever I was trying to hold up another player, and just the level of difficulty in doing that was just so frustrating because I felt like the game was holding me back from doing that. Where in games like DayZ, it's bread and butter, very simple, easy mechanics to make that happen. You literally drag the rope or handcuffs or duct tape into your hands, and then you apply it to the individual. And it just didn't feel that smooth for me. So these types of games, survival MMOs, live off of player encounters. And whenever the player encounters is very weak, you don't have a very strong game. Maybe you have beautiful environments, beautiful houses, a really nice loot system, arguably an okay firearm system. I don't personally like it. I think it's silly how you have to like do the dragging and how the magazine is the ammo, and it's really weird. But I'm not a fan of that. But I think the game does have a lot of potential, but I just find it's focusing on the wrong things. It needs to start to get better at player encounters. And until then, it's just going to be one of these really weird games that just feels like it's just not good at, it's okay at everything, but not good at anything, if that makes any sense. The next question comes from Rogan. Do you think DayZ will be playable offline in the future? Yes. That is already confirmed to be happening around the same time that modding is going to be released with the DayZ launcher. So you will be able to play DayZ offline. Specifically, they're going to be introducing it to allow modders to have a chance to test out their mods before releasing it to the public. Now, I don't know if it's going to be like you're going to be able to host your own local server that you can invite friends to join. That would be a cool idea. I just don't know if your computer would be able to run an entire DayZ Chernarus server, at a pretty decent latency. I could be wrong though, but it would be a cool idea if they allowed you to save local content. Let's say somebody wants to do just a pure survivalist mode inside of DayZ standalone, without encountering other players, then that would be the environment to do that in. Or for testing weapons, like as a YouTuber, I would love to be able to test weapons and mechanics in a closed setting, like being able to find different weapons and testing out their recoil patterns and how much damage they do to players and things like that. So I'm really excited for that closed-in environment, and it will be coming down the road. Well guys, that's it for this week's episode of Ask Deadly. If you guys want to get a chance to get in my next video on Sunday, then be sure to leave your guys' questions in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer them for you guys.